do want to now look at the flip side here. You said the rich did get richer, but did anyone, maybe that didn't come true for them, anyone's net worth take a plunge, maybe so much so that they are no longer part of the Forbes 400?
Yeah, definitely. So, it's a dynamic list, and you have people who are gaining a lot of money every year. You have people who are giving away a lot of money every year, and you have people who are losing a lot of money every year, as shares of their companies become worth less and less. And this year, the minimum net worth to make the list went up to 2.9 billion from 2.7 last year. So even people who just held steady, that wasn't good enough. If you just held on to how much money you had a year ago, you might not be worth enough to make the 400. And so between people getting passed up and people losing a lot of money, several people dropped off the list. And the most notable one of all is certainly Donald Trump, who's down about 19% from last year. I think he was at 3.2 billion. Now we have him at 2.6 billion. And that's basically because Truth Social sort of isn't panning out, maybe the way that the former president might have hoped. And investors are less enthusiastic nowadays, as compared to how they were, in recent years. And then, he has a lot of commercial real estate, and some of that stuff is sort of hurting, a lot of, office space and things like that are just maybe not doing as well as they were before the pandemic. And that's, he's got plenty of other sort of issues with his legal challenges and all of that. So all that stuff, has not been kind to Donald Trump's net worth over the past 12 months, but he's not the only one. Charlie Ergen, the Dish Network founder, Dish stock is down a lot. There's a lot of cable cutting, a lot of issues sort of in his empire. He fell off the Forbes 400 this year, been on for a very long time. A few years ago, he was worth 20 billion, which would have comfortably put you on the Forbes 400. But also Evan Spiegel and Bobby Murphy, the co-founders of Snap, Snapchat, is sort of hit with sort of declining ad revenue and some issues with Apple letting people opt out certain things, and so the Snap billionaires are also off the list this year.
What about a billionaire redemption arc, so to speak? Anyone fall off the list and is now returning and is back on?
Several people are sort of returnees. It's like I said, it's a dynamic list. And so, I guess the most notable one is probably Brian Acton, who's the co-founder of WhatsApp, but also Maggie Hardy, who's maybe a lesser known billionaire, but she took over 84 Lumber, which is sort of a lumber supply company, and has grown it into a big operation. And it sort of faltered a bit during the Great Recession, but she sort of built it back, and so she's back on the list. And so I think there are maybe a half dozen or so people who I think maybe 10 or so people who used to be on the 400 and were off for at least a year and are now back on. But it's kind of a hard feat to master because there are people passing you up all the time.